Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am a new Muslim and want to know about Shia and Sunni. What is the difference?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. They are very different. The Sunni is coming from the word Ahli Sunnah wal Jamaat. It is a name that the Prophet gave. Ahli Sunnah means those who follow the traditions of the Prophet. Well, Jama'at means they are the majority. They are a big community. They are not a minority. These names are important because according to who gives the name, you get that secret, you get that power. This name is given by Allah and His Prophet, Ahli Sunnah. It is not a name given by others. It is not a name that we give ourselves. Islam is not a name that other people give to this religion. Allah and His Prophet gave the name of Islam. Muslim is not a name that other people call us. It is a name that Allah and His Prophet give to us. No other religion you will find in this world that religion is called that because Allah has called that religion. This is one of the big miracles of Islam. Musa alayhi salam never said, I come to bring Judaism. He didn't. Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, did not come. He didn't come to say, I bring Christianity. Which begs the question now. You have to ask yourself the question. So what is the religion of Musa and Isa? Isn't it? If they come to find a religion, what is their religion? This is when Allah and His Prophet is saying they are Muslims. They are submitters. They are the ones who give submission to Allah. And all the prophets, they are Muslims. So Islam and Muslims, it is a term, it is a name that has always been with Allah. That Allah has always had that. Allah is saying, Inna dina indallahul Islam. The religion that is accepted with Allah, it is Islam. And Allah is without beginning and end. And Islam is without beginning and end. It is not something that the Western book saying Islam began in 622 AD, 1400 years ago. Before that, there is no Islam and there are no Muslims. No. The religion that Allah has sent through 124,000 prophets has always been Islam. Islam means submission. Turn your face away from this world back to Allah. And Allah has sent prophets to represent Him. And all prophets teaching there is one Allah. Turn to Him and I am His messenger. I am His way. Follow my way. So, no religion, not Hinduism, not Buddhism. Buddha didn't say, I come to bring you Buddhism and follow me, and you're going to be called Buddhist. In fact, in the Bible itself, it says they were first called Christians in Antioch, And it was a name that the enemies of Christianity gave to the Christians. It's a nickname. It is like a name insulting them. It's important to know this. They may seem small, but it is not for the intelligent man. So Ahl Sunnah is the majority. Ahl Sunnah, when Prophet ﷺ passed, all 124,000 Sahabis, his companions, they were following the Ahl Sunnah way. Okay? And Prophet ﷺ also gave a warning. He's saying that my nation is going to be divided. The Jewish nation is divided. into 71 groups. Only one group, it is correct. 70 groups, it is wrong. Christianity is going to be divided into 72 groups. Only one group, it is correct. 71 groups is on the wrong direction. Wrong direction leads you to hellfire. Islam is going to be divided into 73 different groups. One group, it is going to be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, on the correct straight path. 72 groups is going to be bounding to hellfire. And they asked him, which group is that? He didn't leave it hanging for everyone to take a guess. They asked him, which group is that? And he openly saying, those who follow my sunnah, my tradition, my way, and the ways, and the sunnah and the tradition of my companions. There is a very important distinction there. Because he did not just say those who follow my traditions. He says those who follow my traditions and those who follow, those companions who follow my traditions. There is a protocol, there is a chain. Because if he had just stopped there, those who follow my traditions, then all 73 different groups of Muslims, every one of them claims to follow the traditions of the Prophet directly. Fascist Muslims saying we follow the Prophet. Feminist Muslims saying we follow the Prophet. Shia saying we're following the Prophet. Ibadis saying we're following the Prophet. Progressive Muslims saying, everyone is saying we follow the Prophet. But Prophet says, no, those who follow my sunnah and the sunnah of those ones who follow me, my companions. Once you have that, you cannot escape. And they are the majority. And in another hadith, Prophet ﷺ is saying, my nation, they will never deviate as a majority. Safety is with the majority. So now, who gave the name Shia? Not Allah, His Prophet. They call themselves that. Shiyatul Ali, the party of Ali. Is this something that Prophet also warned them about? Yes. There are those companions who are close to the Prophet ﷺ, that he had told events that are going to come, what is going to happen step by step until Judgment Day, to prepare them. But that kind of knowledge is not contained in books. It will be read by the wrong people, it's going to get corrupted. It's kept in the heart. And those ones who qualify, those ones who are trained, those ones who have submitted, those ones who are trustworthy, then they hold that knowledge and they pass it to others who are trustworthy. So, the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Ali, because the Shia, they are saying they are following Hazrati Ali, and they are not giving support and believing and giving allegiance when the Prophet ﷺ passed to Hazrati Abu Bakr or Umar or Usman. They say, no, Ali has to be. You stole the Khilafat from him, they're saying. All lies. And Prophet ﷺ had warned them. This is what's going to happen. He's saying to Hazrat Ali, he says, Ya Ali, there are those who love you so much that they are going to worship you. And there are those who hate you so much that there are those who are going to kill you. You are going to be the Jesus of my nation. Just as Isa alayhi salam, those who love him so much, they pass their limits and they worship him as a god. Same thing happened to Hazrati Ali. And there are groups of Shias that they worship Hazrati Ali. And saying to Hazrati Ali, there are some groups that hate you so much that they want to kill you, just as there are those who hate Hazrat Isa, Jesus, so much that they conspire to kill him. Both groups are extreme, and both groups, they are wrong. So, how did this difference come about? This is the first fitna that happened to the community, to the Muslims. And that fitna, that confusion, is still continuing 1400 years later. The truth is with the majority in Islam in these matters. And Prophet ﷺ, he had given very clear indications when he was living and when he was passing, who should represent him when he passes, and who should represent that one when he passes. He has given clear indication that the four Sahabis, the four companions that he holds very high, is Hazrat Abu Bakr, Umar, Usman, and Hazrat Ali. And the seniority, the superiority of these four during his lifetime, he has explained very clearly. Through everything, because of everything, age, knowledge, and everything, and closeness. It is Hazrat Abu Bakr first, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Usman, and Hazrat Ali. It is not Hazrat Umar, then Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Abu Bakr. No, the order is like that. And the Prophet, when he was going to pass from this world, he asked for a pen and a paper. And he was going to dictate, and others are going to write who is going to be his representative until Judgment Day. Then some of the other Sahabis and some companions that they are claiming that they are Sahabis, but they are in reality munafiqs, hypocrites. They are wearing the same clothes, they are praying, they are worshipping, but they are hypocrites. That's why in Islam, nobody who just does everything Islam is saying is going to be like what the Christians say, you are saved, you're going to go to paradise, whatever. No. If you still have hypocrisy in your heart, you are not a believer yet. And if you don't get rid of it before you pass from this world, it doesn't matter how much worship that you do. You are a hypocrite, and the hypocrite's destination, it is in a lower hell, lower than the unbelievers. So they started making confusion in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ is saying, then stop, don't write. You are going to decide. And Prophet has given clear indications. Every time Prophet is saying to Hazrat Abu Bakr that he described as his closest friend, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has praised him in the Holy Quran as being the second of the two in the cave. The Prophet is saying, everything that Allah has put into my heart, I pour into the heart of Abu Bakr Siddiq. He didn't say that of all his other companions, only to Hazrat Abu Bakr. So the order is very clear. And when the Prophet was passing, he says, close all the doors and the windows, because they will have apartments all around the Prophet's mosque. He says, except for Hazrat Abu Bakr's window and door, keep it open. So, meaning that he's the one that he is approving to be his representative, to be his Khalifa, to represent him when he passes. So understand, when there is truth, there is always going to be untruth around, trying to fight and to bring that truth down. So when there was truth there, there's always confusion, and people making confusion to bring the Muslims and the Islam down, to weaken it from the inside. And what happened then? There was confusion. And those ones, they are loving Hazrat Ali so much, they were blinded by that. And there were other ones who were putting lies and poison amongst the early community. They start to make them to fight against each other. They didn't dare to do it during the time of Hazrat Abu Bakr. During the time of Hazrat Umar, they couldn't do so much. But they assassinated Hazrat Umar. Who was it who assassinated? He was a Majusi, a Zoroastrian, an Iranian, a kafir that stabbed him, assassinated him when he was about to pray in the mihrab. That one is called Abu Lulu, who killed him, who assassinated Hazrat Umar. And that was a fire worshipper. And there are Shias today who made that fire worshipper into a saint. And they built a tomb and a masjid for him. And they are celebrating him, and they're celebrating the death of Hazrat Umar. Not Sunni Shia. And Islam was getting so powerful during the time of Hazrat Umar and Hazrat Usman's time, especially during Hazrat Usman's time. Islam was spreading all the way to China. They were sending delegations to China, to the Middle East, to Southeast Asia, to everywhere. Soon they're going to discover that the Sahabis even traveled to Australia. All the way there, down under. And the enemies of Islam say this cannot go on. They are unstoppable. We have to go through the back door. We have to go through the back door and try to destroy them. There was one man. His background is Yahudi. His name is Ibn Sabah. He started to spread so much confusion during that time, because this is also a very extended history that we have to know. It involves Hazrat Usman. It involves the assassination of Hazrat Usman too. That people are, the confusion happened and they killed Hazrat Usman when Hazrat Usman was reading the Quran. And there were munafiqs that were engineering that. And these munafiqs, they were around, but they are pretending to be Muslims. And people know that they are the ones who did this. And they are not happy with it, especially those ones who are belonging to the family of Hazrat Usman. And when Hazrat Ali became the Khalifa, they wanted Hazrat Ali to take action immediately and to kill all of them. And Hazrat Ali says, no, there is a bigger agenda than this. There is a deeper conspiracy than this. I have to go deep to bring it. They were not satisfied with that. For the sake of haqq. Now, they manage, these munafiqs and these mischief makers, troublemakers, that Hazrat Ali now went to war with Hazrat Aisha, the wife of the Prophet. And they went to war with Hazrat Muawiyah. They did not go to war for the dunya. They did not go to war to gain power. They went to war because they were holding on to the truth. They have been trained by the Prophet. They were pure, spotless ones. And they were going according to that knowledge. They were mujtahids. And both, they are right. So, now when they are looking at Hazrat Ali is not taking care of the matter. They decided to handle it according to their own way. And that brought weakness also to the ummah. Because so many Sahabis, high-level Sahabis, they all lost their lives in that war. And that is also the time when Ibn Sabah, coming from Yahudi background, he started to spread the poison, saying that Ali is Allah. And there are Shias who believe that. We're not saying majority. Majority don't know. Majority don't know anything. Majority, they don't even know about Hazrat Abu Bakr or whatever. They're just going along with their tradition. Islam has become a tradition instead of a belief. So, Ibn Sabah started to spread, saying Ali is Allah. And people who love Hazrat Ali so much, they were blinded by that. Exactly what the Holy Prophet is saying. There are those who love you so much, they're going to say that you are Allah. They started to believe that. This is a long story, like I said. It involves so many governors, it involves so much confusion, so much things that Hazrat Usman was trying to correct, and they made it even worse, and people started to switch sides, especially in that Iran area. There is still a big trouble area. Trouble to Prophet, trouble to Ahlul Bayt. They are the ones who betrayed Hazrat Hussein, saying, we love you. Who are these ones? Sunnis? Shias. That later, they were supporting Hazrat Hussein, saying that come to us, we'll give you support, everyone is supporting you, everyone is supporting you. And Hazrat Hussein went there. Although there's some high-level Sahabis who say, Ya Hussein, don't go. These people, they are fickle. You cannot trust them. Hazrat Hussein says, I must walk to my destiny. He did not go there to establish a separate khilafat. He did not go there to fight. He left the zulm, and he was on his way to somewhere else. But those ones who are saying, we will live for you, we will die for you, we sacrifice everything for you, when the time came for the war to happen, when Yazid, who did wrong, was the evil one, came to kill Hazrat Hussein and all his supporters, those hundreds of thousands, they betrayed him and they left him. They even left him on the night before, until he was just surrounded by 73 supporters. And Yazid then came to destroy, and he massacred them. It is through the betrayal. And those ones who betrayed Hazrat Hussein, they were promised by Yazid. They were promised by Yazid saying, if you betray, then I'm going to give you dunya. I'm going to give you so much benefit. They're thinking of that. They betrayed Hazrat Hussein. They went to Yazid. Yazid saying, you betray that one, you're going to betray me one day. So he killed them too. Now they lost dunya and akhirat. So, those things happen. So this Ibn Sabah, he started to spread the lie, saying that secret knowledge, Ali is Allah. That some Shias, they believe. Some Shias believe Ali is Prophet. Some Shias, they believe Jibreel made a mistake and the Quran was supposed to go to Ali, but he made a mistake and he gave it to Muhammad ﷺ. Some saying Prophet ﷺ stole the nubuwat from Hazrat Ali. So many weird kind of beliefs that is in the Shia understanding. That there's still wrong beliefs coming out from there. Baha'is coming out from there. Wrong Yazidis coming out from Shiism. Those Yazidis who worship Shaitan. Openly they worship Shaitan. Wrong things happening from there. So, continuing up to today. Not to mention those Aga Khanis, the Ismailis, never ending. Confusion. Continuing from there. So, Hazrat Ali then said, arrest that man, Ibn Sabah, and bring him to me. So the man was arrested. Then Hazrat Ali says, say what you are. What do you have to say? The man says, it is known. You are Allah. Hazrat Ali got so upset. He says, take him and burn him. Ibn Sabah started laughing. Saying, the Quran is saying that only Allah can burn. So you're just proving me right. You are Allah. That's the time Hazrat Ali says, get him and exile him. So they exiled him to a certain area. Later his teachings start to spread, this and that. So many things happen. So the Shias, they do not accept the successorship. They don't accept the decision of Allah and the Prophet, saying that Hazrati Abu Bakr is going to represent me, and Hazrati Umar, Hazrati Ali. At first it was just political. Then it became more and more in terms of religious practices. Majority of them, they don't know anything. Majority of them, they're very close to us, of course. Majority of them, they are close to our madhab, because the Ahl Sunnah way, it is divided into four. They are not four madhabs, four schools of thought. These four madhabs, they are not fighting with each other. They are not opposing each other. Four highways going to the same direction. There's a madhab Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki and Hanbali madhab. There were before that so many other madhabs, but they became more and more together, and four madhabs they are left, and these madhab imams, we can never reach to their understanding, their spirituality, their knowledge, their strength, everything. We were not able to reach it 1,000 years ago. After a couple of 100 years after the Prophet passed, the man's knowledge and everything gets weaker and weaker, and you cannot find a mujtahid, an imam that is able then to make a mazhab. Everything, all questions are already asked and they are answered until Judgment Day. Those who are saying, no, we have to think outside of the cube. We have to think outside of the box. We have to make a new ijtihad. We have to make new mazhabs. We must make new minority fiqh. They're going against to the sayings of the Prophet. They're going against the sayings of the imams and the salihin and the awliya Allah. And they're making complete bid'ah. They're not doing it under the direction of a khalifa. They're doing it under direction of shaitanic ideology. Those scholars, so-called scholars, that they are worse. They're the worst ones that Allah has created under the dome of Allah. And they are big fitna makers in the Akhir Zaman, whoever they are. So, the four mazhabs, the four schools of thought, they are Ahl Sunnah. And Sufi or Tasawwuf, it is the essence of Sunnism, of the Ahl Sunnah. It is not a division, it is going deeper into it. It is like saying, you have college, and there are different colleges. But if you want to deepen that, you're going to take your postgraduate, or you're going to have a PhD, and it is not separate from the college, it is going deeper into it. That is what Tasawwuf and Tariqat is. It is not separate from that. But Shiism, it is completely separate from that. So many people, they are innocent. So many people don't know. Majority of the people, they are good. And they are very close to the Hanafi mazhab, our mazhab. Because Imam Abu Hanifa, he was a murid of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, who was a great grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. And Ja'far as-Sadiq, he is one of the other imams that the Shias that they're believing, that we are also believing up to a point, and we're not believing the imams as the way that they believe the imams, but we have no problems with them. They're on top of our heads, and we're asking for their help always. Ja'far as-Sadiq, he was our grand Sheikh in the Naqshbandi order too, and he is an imam of the Shias. His murid was Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq. Ja'far as-Sadiq got tariqat from him. But in terms of Shariat, Ja'far as-Sadiq was following his murid. So the Ja'fari Shias, they're very close to the mazhab of the Hanafis. So the difference then started off from that time, and we cannot now not mention the Umayyas and the Abbasis and the Ottomans, because the Umayyas with Hazrati Muawiyah, and that title then was taken, was claimed by Yazid, his son, who is on the wrong way, who did wrong, who killed Hazrati Hussein and his family, we have no love for him. Those who are saying, no, 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 he's Hazrati Yazid, those are wrong too. Hazrati Hassan was supposed to be the Khalifa, and he was a Khalifa. And he was a Khalifa for 6 months, but to avoid bloodshed, he gave up the Khilafat and he gave it to Hazrati Muawiyah, with the condition that after Hazrati Muawiyah, it's supposed to pass to the Ahlul Bayt again. But Yazid grabbed it, and the course continued that way. And Hazrati Hassan was betrayed by his own wife. He was poisoned. Because Yazid promised his wife, saying that if you betray your husband, I'm going to give you so much. I'm going to make you my wife. You're going to... So again, betrayal happening always. How Muslims and Islam weakens is from the inside. It's through betrayal. So now, the Umayyas, they continued, and they were righteous rulers, Maliks, from the Bani Umayyi. But big wrongs they did, which we cannot even concentrate on that, because whatever wrong they did, they still spread Islam. They still did good for Islam. That is between them and Allah and those that they have wronged. Now, we're not doing anything for Islam, and we are claiming that we are better than them. But big wrong that they did, especially in the first few generations, they were hunting the grandchildren of the prophets and they were massacring them. That is wrong. Allah did punish them for that. Because when the Abbasis, they took over, and those Abbasis, they were the descendants of Ibn Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. And that is when it began to become more balanced, because a lot of people, the Shias, they were supporting the Abbasis also. And the Abbasis then punished the Umayyads. But the Abbasis became weak also. That continued. The Crusades happened during the time of the Abbasis. Muslim lands, they were divided. There were so many kings and maliks that were fighting and going against the Khalifa, although there was still one Khalifa. That it wasn't until the time of the Ottomans that the Ottomans were given direct order by the Prophet ﷺ to take the Khilafat. And once the Ottomans, they took the Khilafat, they established their rule, they protected the Muslims. That before the Ottomans, the Seljuk Turks who supported the Abbasi Khilafat, although they were more powerful than the Khilafat, but they say we are not going to take, because no permission has been given to us to assume leadership of the Khilafat. Now the Ottomans then not only protected, they expanded the lands of Islam and went all the way to the gates of Vienna to call the Azan-i-Muhammadi. And the Yavuz Sultan Selim not only went, all other sultans, they went west, he went east. Because in this time of the Umayyads and the Abbasis, the Shias, they have their own separate ruling. That for a time they became very powerful. The Fatimis, they were ruling in Cairo, and they were introducing so many wrong things that the Ahl Sunnah Aqidah, the belief system, was going to get lost if it not for the Seljuks who came and took over. And they have always put confusion amongst the Ahl Sunnah, the majority, by allying themselves with the unbelievers. That during the time of the Ottomans and earlier, they've always allied themselves either with the Vatican or the Venetians or the Orthodox. And that is still continuing today. So the split happened, and Yavuz Sultan Selim then went east, and he managed to break the back of the Shias. And the Shias, they massacred hundreds of thousands of Ahl Sunnah and forced them to become Shia, like the Azaris. They were Shia now, but they were Sunnis before. So many things happened at that time. So they have been a minority. And they are still a minority and they are still small. That is the difference. certain things that they are doing, it is not according to Ahl Sunnah Aqidah, it is not according to Haqq. Do we hate them? No, we don't. Do we fight with them? We don't have permission to fight with them. We are not fighting with them. But if they're coming and they are not going to come and fight, they just want to sit and they just want to worship with us, they are welcome. So, this is the difference between them and the Ahl Sunnah. And this fitna will continue until Mahdi alayhi salam appears to correct this. Inshallah, may his appearances come soon. But that time is not going to be between Sunni or Shia. It's not a war between Sunni and Shia. Like what they're putting in the papers now, Sunni. No, it is not a war between Sunni and Shia. That time is not between Jews and Muslims, or Muslims and Christians. It is between believers and unbelievers. You will find believers who are Jews, Christians, Shias, whatever, Hindu and Buddhists, and you'll find unbelievers who are disguising themselves as Muslims, disguising themselves as Jews, Christians, and Hindus and Buddhists. So we need to put that and bring people into unity, but only those ones who want to unite under Haqq. We don't want any unity if it's under Batil. And as far as Aqidah is concerned, the Ahl Sunnah Aqidah is very clear. And the Aqidah of the Shias, it is also very clear. And there are alims and ulamas, king-size ones, who have already decided what is right and what is wrong. And we are following that, inshallah. It's a long story. This is in a nutshell, inshallah. It will be benefiting to you. Assalamu alaikum.